From the outside, she was America's sweetheart, the comedian who built an entire empire on the words "be kind." But behind the cameras, a very different story was unfolding, one that celebrities, employees, and insiders are only now feeling safe enough to tell. Ellen DeGeneres started The Ellen Show in 2003 and spent nearly 2 decades becoming the most recognizable face in daytime television. Every A-list celebrity wanted a seat on that couch. The show was a cultural institution. But after 19 seasons, it was suddenly over, not with a graceful farewell, but under the weight of serious workplace misconduct allegations that shook the entire industry. Employees who had given years of their lives to the show began speaking out. They described a workplace defined by fear, where the warm, generous persona Ellen projected on screen bore no resemblance to the person running things behind the scenes. An independent investigation confirmed what many had suspected: the Be Kind brand was largely a performance. Ellen attempted to address the fallout in a letter to her staff, acknowledging her disappointment and citing the show's rapid growth as part of the reason things had slipped through the cracks. Warner Brothers, the studio behind the show, conducted their own review and confirmed there were management deficiencies, promising changes going forward. But the damage was already done. For many people, the apologies felt like damage control, not genuine accountability. What made things worse was the realization that this wasn't just about a difficult work environment. It was about a pattern of behavior that stretched far beyond the studio walls. Long before any of this became public, comedian and actress Margaret Cho had already experienced it firsthand. Cho had opened for Ellen back in the 1980s, when Ellen was headlining comedy clubs. Years later, when Cho appeared on Ellen's talk show, Ellen acted as though they had never met. Cho described it as creepy and bizarre, someone erasing a shared history without a second thought. To make matters worse, when David Bowie appeared on the show and spoke at length and with genuine enthusiasm about an outfit Cho had worn to his concert the night before, Ellen cut the entire segment. A producer close to Cho had to call her privately just to let her know it had happened. Rosie O'Donnell, who had once been one of Ellen's closest friends, also reflected on the arc of Ellen's career with a kind of knowing clarity. She wasn't surprised by what had happened. In her view, the Queen of Nice identity was always going to be a double-edged sword, and the moment Ellen started believing she was above accountability, the clock started ticking. Taylor Swift spoke publicly about her own uncomfortable experiences with Ellen, recalling how Ellen repeatedly pushed her about her dating life during interviews, despite Taylor making it clear she wasn't comfortable. Ellen would press, mock, and prod while the audience laughed along. But looking back at those clips now, Taylor's discomfort is impossible to miss. In a conversation with Zane Lowe for Apple Music, Taylor connected those experiences to a broader pattern she had observed in the industry, one where women in entertainment are routinely diminished, their accomplishments minimized, their personal lives weaponized. Ellen's behavior, in Taylor's telling, wasn't just rude. It was part of a system. Justin Bieber's situation was even more troubling. In 2015, when Bieber was 21 years old, paparazzi illegally photographed him in a private moment without his consent. Rather than treating it with any sensitivity, Ellen made the incident a punchline on her show, joking openly about it while a visibly uncomfortable Bieber sat across from her. Ellen was 58 years old at the time. Kathy Griffin, who had known Ellen for years within the comedy world, was blunt about what people in that industry had long understood. Ellen had no ability to laugh at herself, and anyone who dared to call her out became an enemy. Griffin recalled a full screaming match between the two of them over Ellen's dismissal of Joan Rivers, a woman who, regardless of your opinion of her comedy, had broken enormous ground for women in talk television. Ellen, according to Griffin, never acknowledged the debt she owed to those who came before her. Then there is the matter of Diddy. Ellen invited him onto her show 17 different times. She spoke warmly about his parties and hinted at a familiarity with his social circle that went well beyond what most would consider casual. When Diddy's Miami mansion was raided by the FBI in 2024 and the full scope of his alleged crimes began to come into focus, people started looking back at those interviews with very different eyes. 1 month after the raid, Ellen announced she was leaving the United States permanently and relocated to the United Kingdom with her wife Portia de Rossi. The timing drew immediate scrutiny. Online, people began connecting dots between Ellen's social circle, the Epstein files, and various pieces of imagery from her show and home. Some of it speculative, some of it genuinely difficult to explain away. Whether those specific theories hold weight or not, the broader question they point to is one that more and more people are asking. Who exactly was Ellen DeGeneres connected to, and what did she know? The most painful chapter in all of this may be the story of Stephen Twitch Boss. The beloved DJ had been with the show for 8 years and was one of the most universally liked figures associated with it. In December 2022, he took his own life. He left a note for his wife that referenced a burden he could not bring himself to describe in detail, one he connected to his time on the show. The loss was devastating. Ellen posted videos of herself in tears. But just months later, in court, she denied that events her employees had described had ever taken place. And then came the Netflix special. In 2024, Ellen released a stand-up comedy special titled For Your Approval, in which she openly mocked the misconduct allegations against her. She made jokes about being kicked out of show business for being mean. She made jokes about therapy. She framed the entire controversy as a misunderstanding, a witch hunt driven by people who simply didn't like her. Former staffers who watched it described feeling sick. One producer said it was not accountability. It was revision. It was Ellen deciding that the best strategy was to rewrite history and dare anyone to push back. Joe Rogan captured the broader dynamic well when he talked about the culture of entitlement he encountered in Hollywood early in his career. The pattern was always the same. People who were perfectly charming in front of cameras or executives and completely dismissive and demeaning to anyone they considered beneath them. Ellen fit that description precisely. The warmth was always for the audience. For the people who actually worked with her every day, it was a different experience entirely. Tony Okungboa, the on-air DJ who spent 11 years on the show, eventually broke his silence on Instagram, writing that while he was grateful for the opportunities the show had given him, he had personally experienced and witnessed the toxicity that others were describing. He stood with his former colleagues. His statement was measured, not sensational, which somehow made it land harder. The bigger picture here is not just about one difficult celebrity. It is about the pattern, the way Ellen treated celebrities in interviews, the way she ran her workplace, the Hollywood friendships she maintained, and the ones she discarded. Her connection to Diddy, the timing of her departure from the United States, the comedy special that mocked the people she had allegedly harmed. Each piece on its own might be explained away. All of them together tell a very different story. The Be Kind image did not just crack. It collapsed. And the more people look back, the more they wonder how it held together for as long as it did. Do you think Ellen's career is genuinely over? Or do you believe Hollywood will eventually find a way to rehabilitate her image the way it has done for others before her? And what does it say about the industry that so many people stayed silent for so long? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The conversation is worth having. If this video gave you something to think about, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More of these stories are still coming to the surface, and we will be here when they do.